Hi, this is Brett Bumeter from Softduit Media, aka @BrettBum on Twitter or the Brett Bum channel on YouTube. Today I'm going through the unofficial BlogWorld Exhibitors list, and I'm basically going through and doing my kind of pre-show due diligence, kind of scoping out who's going to be there so that I can start to get some idea of who I'm going to see, who I might want to talk to. Right now I'm doing 5 at a time, and I'm starting this one off with the Interactive Advertising Bureau. This is a trade group. I first ran into these guys, I believe it was at BlogWorld New York maybe last year. It could have been LA. I can't remember which one it was, but I've seen them at a couple different shows before. This is a trade group. I believe that they have a free newsletter with lots of information, but they also have memberships which require paid membership to join their group. Lots of different things going on in this trade group trying to help set standards across the industry with digital advertising, with blog advertising, testimonials, and a number of other things. Some interesting stuff happening here, a lot of education and training going on. But with all trade groups, there's some membership levels. As I've looked at this, and to be quite frank, the pricing on this always seemed a little on the high side compared to what I do. If I were running a full-fledged firm with a number of different people, social media firm or an SEO firm, I might consider this a little bit more, but that's not what I do. I'm an independent web developer and blogger, and I just don't have the budget for this type of the type of memberships that I've seen through these guys in the past. And I don't see their pricing in here as I'm just kind of glancing around at the moment. It may be a good fit for you, may be a good way to network or get some exposure to what you or your firm's doing as well, and or to help change and direct the industry into some better directions. There's a lot of things that people are doing that could use some improvement. Sometimes working with a trade group can help you achieve those results. Next up on the list is HostDime.com. This is a hosting company. At almost every blog world, there's always 2 to 3 hosting companies that show up and share their wares. This is maybe the first or second time I've seen HostDime before. I don't use them myself, so I'm always very careful with my recommendations with hosting companies. This is one that you might want to take a look at. If you're in the market for hosting, they may or may not offer some freebies. They may even have some special products that they are looking to show off at the show. In past blog worlds, I've seen InMotion Hosting and HostGator. I've seen WP Engine and ZippyKid. Those two are specialized WordPress only type hosting companies. I use ZippyKid myself for my own site, and I have a shared hosting plan through HostGator. I've used InMotion in the past. So just to kind of give you a sense, I've seen all of them at BlogWorld in the past. They're not there this time though. HostDime is, so maybe they've got something special to share with everybody this time around that could be useful for you. If nothing else, if you're doing anything on the internet, it's always good to have some connections at a hosting company. So even if you don't need new hosting right now, or even if you're happy with your host right now, things change at hosting companies. A year or two down the road, the hosting company you're with, they could completely fail, and you may need a good alternative to turn to. And things like this help you start to vet who you might work with. And let's see, next up is Headway Themes. I mentioned I always find a couple companies at the show that help make me money or give me tools that do things better, faster, smarter, quicker, more efficiently, or cooler. Headway Themes covers a number of those categories. This is a theming system, an online theme design system where you basically install the theme onto your WordPress site, and you can design the layout of that theme from within the theme itself online. It's not a desktop software program, but an online web development. During BlogWorld LA, they were showing off the new version of Headway, which launched I think about a month after BlogWorld LA. I would expect them to show some of the great features that this theme has. I don't currently use it myself, but I have worked with this with clients in the past. It is a very powerful theming system. In my experience, different theming systems make for good fits for different clients or companies or businesses or structures. This can be used as a one-size-fits-all theme if you really get in and learn it and understand it, but it's not always the best fit for different places. So I highly recommend checking them out so that you can figure out where they might work well for you. But it's not, in my opinion, I've used lots of different services, lots of different software programs, and each one typically works best in different situations. So I always find it good to check these out and figure out when or what situations this might be useful, and in some cases it may be overkill, and so it's good to understand too where it might be overkill. If you want something pretty custom, unique, and fancy, this is definitely something that can get you there. It's got some powerful components, and so I do recommend checking them out. Frankly, I've made money working with Headway Themes in the past, designing websites using their theming system. So this is definitely one to check out. Even if you don't know anything about web design, you can ramp up to speed, benchmark relatively quickly, and make a decent living working with Headway Themes. Okay, so who's next? The guys from Queen's Network, the GFQ. This, as I understand it, I don't know these guys terribly well, and I definitely want to talk with them a little bit more to get a better sense of what they're doing. I believe they're basically a network of a number of different podcasts, maybe videocasts, and blogs, shows as they would probably describe them, that they run through their network. You can basically check out their network and see a number of different shows. So in one example, you might have an individual blogger that writes on their own blog, or an individual podcaster that does their own podcast, or maybe even a couple people that come together to do either of those. In other cases, you've got networks. A network gets set up, and they have an umbrella of many different blogs and podcasts and videocasts under their network, and they start to pull together a number of different advertisers that can then advertise throughout the network. So they kind of centralize some of that activity so that the individual blogger doesn't have to do all that work and can just kind of focus on the show. So I'm curious as to what they're doing, how they work, what they do. I've seen similar business arrangements. Mevio comes to mind. This was set up back in, originally this was set up by the gentleman that coined the term podcasting in the first place, from MTV. Oops, of course, they've got a nice autoplay video. Crappy that. But I've got a number of friends there. But another network, they do a lot of video these days, and they do a lot of broadcast quality work with a number of their video shows. Not all of them, but quite a few of them, and it's growing. And networks in general are definitely a way of the future, so it's good to go out and learn how that sort of system works, learn who the players are in that industry, determine if you want to do your own network, or maybe if you want to work with one yourself. Maybe it's not your thing to start up a network, maybe it is. But this is one of those examples where you may want to find out if working within someone else's network might be good for your business, your show, your audience. Okay, so that brings us to our last one for this set. It's GuestBlogIt. This is essentially a guest blogging platform. So basically you sign up, and you can then write guest blog articles which can be pushed out to publishers around the world, different blogs around the world. There's a couple different free levels, and then there's a pro membership. And they're offering a free pro membership if you talk to them at BlogWorld. I'm not sure what's required or involved. Definitely something I'm going to be checking out a little bit more. But it's one of those things where you can write a blog article, and instead of having to go out and randomly introduce yourself to some blog out there that maybe you've heard of, maybe you haven't, but could be beneficial for you, they kind of help with the network and help make that connection happen in kind of a trusted way. And that can be very useful, that introduction and that network and that ability to publish and extend your reach, your communication capabilities, and things like that. So I'd highly encourage checking them out. There's other guest blogging platforms out there as well, but get a sense of this one, try out their free service, and use it while you're at the show. Right? Go out, write your blog article, take advantage of their pro membership, and push that out while you're at the show, because I'm sure there'll be a number of bloggers in their network that aren't at BlogWorld. So take advantage of it, get some buzz out there, build up some links while you're day one of the show. So that wraps up this segment. We'll be going through our last segment on BlogWorld. However, I do want to reemphasize again, I've mentioned this in a couple of past videos, we're also going to be covering Book Expo of America. One pass for BlogWorld gets you into the BEA, Book Expo America also, and they've got hundreds and hundreds more exhibitors doing a number of different things. Last year at BlogWorld New York, I saw some really cool stuff at the digital publishing section of the show. These are all the people that are doing the cutting edge stuff with ebooks. Things like 3D ebooks on your iPad, interactive 3D with video and audio and things that you can just manipulate Some very cool stuff happening in that front. Things where they're syncing video, audio, and text so that you can read a book on your iPad. You can hit a button and you can start listening to the audio version, the audiobook of that, and then hit pause and switch back to the book. And if there happens to be video and it's synced as well, you could switch over to the video version. And so you can start to consume it without losing your place. As another example, BookBaby is going to be exhibiting at BEA. They were an exhibitor at BlogWorld in Los Angeles. So, some of these folks kind of go back and forth wherever the market is. Book Expo of America is a whole lot larger than BlogWorld in terms of number of visitors and companies and things like that. It's been around a lot longer. So they have a lot more exhibitors over there, and it's definitely something that you should plan on checking out when you go to BlogWorld. Don't miss the rest of the show. There's a whole lot more there to see.